Hey, what's up guys? So we're back with another Star Wars video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We're going to be checking out another video by Red5, so shout out and credit goes to Red5 for this video. And this one is called Every Single Imperial Rank Explained. Now, I did watch a video a long time ago, and it's still on the channel if you guys are wondering. And it was another video by another channel, I forgot his name, I'm sorry. But it did explain every single Imperial rank. But however, I don't think it like went into what the job is entitled to, like what the responsibilities are and things like that. It just went into like what the ranks look like and how you can identify them and how many ranks there are. I remember specifically that they split it into two branches. One was Navy, one was Army, and there was many ranks like, you know, lieutenants, captains, majors, colonels, and generals, admirals, fleet admirals, things like that. So we're gonna be getting to this, and there's only like several ranks that I do know, and I'm still having trouble like identifying the red, blue, and yellow like, you know, those little squares and cubes, oh not cubes, squares that the Imperials have. And also on top of that, there's only like few ranks that I do know, like, you know, Grand Moff, you know, Grand Moff Tarkin, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Admiral, there's Colonel, there's all that. So I mean the ranks are pretty much similar to you know, like the ranks that we have right now, like in the United States military, but they just added so many more because, you know, in the Star Wars universe, it's an empire, so there's gonna be a lot more personnel, so they're gonna need a lot more officers. Well, besides that, without anything else, let's just jump right into it.
To serve in the Galactic Empire was to be a part of a system that demanded absolute obedience and submission. Titles like Grand Moff and Governor were more than just ranks, but instruments of control, forged in a culture of fear that meant climbing a ladder while others tried to backstab you and throw you off of it. From stormtroopers to Grand Admirals, every position was part of a brutal machine built to keep trillions in line. But what did those and the other ranks actually mean? Who answered to who, and how far did the Emperor allow their authority to reach? This is every single Imperial rank explained.
Sorry about that, guys. I thought someone was at the door.
First up, we have the rank and file soldiers, stormtroopers, scout troopers, snow troopers, and many other specialized units.
Oh, so we're not just going to officers, we're literally going from like the bottom all the way to the top.
Were all basic entry-level roles that most humans were able to obtain. Conscription and recruitment efforts targeted local citizens, especially from the core worlds. But if these basic troopers showed excellence or willingness, they could start to make their way up the Imperial ladder. Specialized units like Death Troopers, Shadow Troopers, and Purge Troopers were often composed of those who had proven themselves to be exceptionally capable and fanatically loyal to the regime.
Yo, Purge Troopers are really hard to take down in Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order, no joke.
Pauldrons were sometimes worn by troopers to either denote their rank or specialization. A black-colored pauldron could indicate a standard enlisted trooper, but also could be used for some stormtrooper commanders, corporals, and sergeants.
Yeah, we've seen that.
White was specifically for sergeants, red for squad leaders, and orange for any type of unit leader, including a squad leader, sergeant, captain, or commander. But it wasn't troopers, rather Imperial officers that formed the backbone of the Empire's command structure, spanning both the Navy and Army. These individuals were groomed from prestigious academies like the Imperial Academy on Coruscant.
Nothing beats an academy education. Stand with the best. Enroll today. That's one hell of a recruiting poster.
Officers were trained in tactics, discipline, and loyalty to the Emperor, often showing ruthless efficiency and unwavering commitment. Many of them were chosen from wealthy or politically connected families to ensure a class of leaders who were devoted to Imperial ideals. It was a smart move that ensured loyalty. Officers were expected to maintain strict order, enforce Imperial doctrine, and lead troops or fleets into battle with unwavering precision. The entry-level rank for naval officers was known as midshipmen. These basic officers were cadets undergoing training, usually stationed on academy ships or under the supervision of experienced officers. Their duties included navigation assistance, sensor monitoring, and even command simulations designed to test their leadership skills under pressure. They were given
they have a rank but still in
essential
training.
work that helped with the day-to-day running of Imperial Star Destroyers and other spacefaring vehicles. Midshipmen represented the first step toward becoming full-fledged officers in the Imperial Navy, and successful completion of their training often led to a promotion to ensign or lieutenant junior grade.
He said ensign, it's ensign. And also on top of that, looks like he is focusing more on the naval side instead of the army, judging by like what kind of ranks he's like mentioning. Our lieutenants. Hey, that's what I am right now.
Lieutenants in the Imperial Navy typically served as junior officers aboard Star Destroyers or space stations. They often managed departments or acted as aides to higher-ranking officers, meaning that while they were also subservient to others, they also wielded a small amount of power, something that, on occasions, went to several Navy lieutenants' heads. An example is Lieutenant Tanbris, who served aboard the Death Star and reported that the Rebels' attack on the space station was surprisingly effective to Darth Vader. Army lieutenants had similar positions in the Imperial Army, often leading small squads of stormtroopers or vehicle units. They were responsible for executing orders from superior officers and maintaining troop discipline on the ground. These lieutenants frequently operated in hostile environments such as Outer Rim worlds, overseeing patrols and security operations. They were essentially the middle management of the Imperial Army, bridging the gap between enlisted personnel and higher-ranking field officers, often acting as both tacticians and field supervisors during minor skirmishes and local suppressions. The rank
that's
of
pretty important.
commander in the army signified authority over larger units, such as a battalion or a mechanized division. It was a much more critical and important role that had to be taken seriously. Commanders were essential during planetary operations and surface engagements, often coordinating with Navy counterparts for orbital support. One example we have is Commander Egar, who guarded the shield generator on Endor during the Rebel raid. While he had his orders, it was down to him to make small decisions to help him and the rest of his unit complete their missions successfully, often with little room for hesitation in high-stakes environments. The next rank we come to is Captain. Captains were common across both.
I find it interesting that the commander is right below Captain. Well, then again, that's Navy actually, so... Yeah, Captain will be higher. No, never mind. Disregard what I just said.
The Navy and Army. In the Navy, they typically commanded smaller ships like cruisers or frigates, or served as department heads on larger vessels. Captain Nida is a well-known example. He commanded the Avenger and famously paid with his life for losing the Millennium Falcon. Officers were often held responsible for their underlings' failures, which promoted fear in the ranks and gave officers an incentive to do a good job. Majors were senior ground officers.
Yeah, that's a pretty good motivation.
Second in command to colonels or led independent missions. In most cases, they also served as intelligence or logistics officers, providing critical coordination between field units and sector commands. They were.
So here's what I noticed. Some of the ranks look different. Like you see like three reds and 2 blues, and yet sometimes you see in the clips that the ranks look completely different. Are like the colors like based off of this is like what it usually is, and sometimes it would look different if they were like in certain units or certain jobs or anything like that? Because that much I do not know. So if you guys happen to know why, like some of them look different, even though they're the same rank, please put down in the comments below. I really would appreciate it.
Nation between field units and sector commands. They were pivotal in mid-tier command operations, as we see with Major Partagaz's running of the Coruscant Imperial Security Bureau in
I still haven't seen Andor yet.
Andor. Stepping things up now, colonels commanded regiments or held senior staff roles within sectors. Colonel Wolfie Lauren, originally an admiral during the Clone Wars, was later
Admiral
seen
Yularen
as a colonel in the Imperial Security Bureau on Coruscant and in the Joint Chiefs aboard the Death Star, showing the rank's importance in internal affairs. Colonels not only maintained battlefield command, but also engaged in high-level intelligence operations, political enforcement, and strategic planning, often liaising with Moffs and Grand Moffs to execute Imperial objectives across entire star systems. A rarely mentioned but high-ranking
Colonel
officer, the High Colonel often oversaw multiple regiments and reported directly to generals. Not much is known about this rank, as it is essentially one that indicates someone's transition up the ladder to their next major rank. High Colonels often commanded sector-wide forces during major conflicts, particularly on politically sensitive worlds. Now, the Navy Commander is a rank that often caused confusion due to its name. In the Imperial Navy, commanders could
Yeah, because there's a commander and now there's a Navy commander.
command small ships or serve as executive officers aboard larger vessels. Commander Prajai, for example, served aboard Darth Vader's flagship Star Destroyer Devastator and was given the heavy and, frankly, dangerous task of being responsible for the running of the ship that the Emperor's right-hand man had chosen to travel aboard. Commanders were also entrusted with diplomatic assignments, prisoner transfers, and enforcement of blockade orders issued by the Imperial High Command. Brigadier generals commanded brigades and played a crucial role in bridging the gap between field officers and general staff. Their duties included planning military campaigns and ensuring coordination across divisions, especially during complex operations involving mixed forces. They often coordinated ground assaults with orbital support, worked closely with Navy officers to ensure synchronized attacks against rebel strongholds or insurgent forces across contested systems. Major generals were responsible for corps-level command and strategic deployment of troops.
So there's no generals in the Navy. So by the looks of it, I think unless these are admiral. Oh, okay. So looks like Red 5 is doing a mixture of both Army and Navy. Because I was about to say, like, as soon as he mentioned Brigadier Generals, I was like, there's no generals in the Navy. So are you doing a mix, or are you just mentioning ranks that you know? Things like that.
They were often the best of the best, and while their roles were not frontline troopers, they were still expected and often not scared to get their hands dirty in the battlefield. They regularly operated at the theater level and reported directly to high generals or Moffs while coordinating with sector governors to maintain planetary security and suppress any organized resistance. A high general held substantial authority
now there's
and
a
often
high general
acted as military governors on contested or strategic worlds.
There's a high colonel, now there's a high general.
They had direct control over large military forces and could operate semi-independently under a Moff. They had power and autonomy, though they were not able to get away with anything they wanted, and if a superior pulled rank, a high general could easily be demoted to a lower one. High generals were often seen on crucial worlds like Lothal, overseeing day-to-day military operation and resource exploitation. Generals in the Empire held broad command over large...
Oh, wait, so high general is before general. Interesting. I thought it would be a general and then high general. Wow, that really flipped it around.
Large units or planetary garrisons. General Maximilian Veers, known for leading the ground assault on Hoth with his AT-AT walkers, exemplifies this rank. Not all generals were as hands-on as Veers though, with many preferring to direct the battle from the safety of a command base. Generals often worked closely with the ISB to ensure loyalty among their troops and suppress insubordination within their ranks. Vice admirals were high-ranking officers in the Navy who commanded fleets or served as deputies to full admirals. Vice Admiral Ray Sloan, a prominent figure in the Empire, exemplifies strategic command at this level. Vice admirals frequently oversaw...
I think she was in the game Squadrons. Because I kind of remember her a little bit now. Man, I kind of want to play that game again now.
multi-ship operations, coordinated blockades, and even supervised construction efforts for critical assets like new Star Destroyers or advanced TIE Fighter programs, maintaining logistical superiority over the rebel forces. Admirals had command over large fleet groups and were responsible for entire sectors of space. It was a powerful role that put a lot of responsibility into their hands. Admiral Piet rose to this rank after the death of Admiral Ozzel, showing the deadly seriousness of promotion within the Empire. Luckily, if they gained favor with their superiors or were not killed by them, then the sky was the limit for Imperial admirals. Fleet admirals oversaw multiple fleets and served directly under the High Admirals or the Imperial High Command. Though rarely seen, this rank existed as a testament to the immense scale of Imperial operations. The number of ships and vehicles in the Imperial Navy was almost unfathomable, and it was no small job to keep the Navy in shape and ready for action at a moment's notice. Fleet admirals knew the importance of that fact more than any others. A prestigious rank, High Admirals often operated at the level of regional defense,
now that's a High Admiral,
coordinating vast fleets and logistics. Like Fleet Admirals, they were rare, however the power they wielded over the Empire's fleets could help decide the fate of the galaxy. High Admirals could move assets from one side of the galaxy to another in order to truly enforce the Empire's rule and oppression. The highest naval rank, Grand Admiral, was appointed personally by the Emperor, wearing distinctive white uniforms. They had authority over any Imperial asset, regardless of branch. Grand Admiral Thrawn, a strategic genius from the Chiss Ascendancy, is the most iconic figure to hold this title. Moffs were political military governors responsible for sectors of the galaxy. They had authority over all military and civil operations within their region. Moff Jerjerrod, who oversaw the construction of the second Death Star, is a known example. He was a trusted Moff and as such was allowed to be in the presence of the Emperor himself. This was a role that many more politically minded Imperial loyalists aspired to reach. Governors, often synonymous with Moffs in some context, held political authority over star systems and planets. Governor Tarkin, later Grand Moff, was a leading figure in developing the Tarkin Doctrine, emphasizing fear-based rule.
That's new, because I never knew that governor was actually a rank in the Imperial ranks. I thought, just like here, it's just more of a title and a position, but I didn't think it was a military position. That's really interesting.
Another example would be Governor Price, who oversaw Imperial expansion and industrialization on the planet Lothal. Some Imperial governors were more benevolent than others, though they all ultimately enforced the Empire's rules with some level of dictatorship. A rank above standard Moffs, Grand Moffs were responsible for entire over-sectors,
Grand Moff Tarkin,
which encompassed multiple sectors. Grand Moff Tarkin, the most notorious of them all, held command over the Death Star and was one of the Emperor's most trusted enforcers. He had the Emperor's ear and was personally able to influence and advise the Dark Lord of the Sith as to how to run the entire Empire. Finally, we have the rank of Grand General.
Grand General?
Rank represents
I don't remember
the
this.
pinnacle of Army command. Grand Generals oversaw vast ground forces and strategic theaters. They often advised the Emperor directly and had authority across multiple armies and military campaigns. They could command every rank beneath them and held massive amounts of power across the entire Empire. So that covers all of the Army and Navy ranks, but the Empire was more than just an army and a navy. They had science divisions, research divisions, development and energy divisions.
Holy crap.
They had science divisions, research.
This guy looks like he can barely fit into this uniform.
Divisions, development and energy divisions. There was no shortage of Imperial branches. Each of them had their own ranks, which were slight variations of those in the Navy and Army, yet the hierarchy was still largely the same. There were
Okay.
even a few alternative ranks, such as Director, held by Orson Krennic, who oversaw integral parts of Operation Stardust, or the Death Star. Darth Vader himself held no real formal rank, but the Emperor made it known
Hey.
that he was an extension of his own will. Vader and
That
Tarkin
is his
were
rank.
essentially equals to Palpatine, sort of his right and left-hand men. Speaking of the devil at the very top, of course, is the Emperor himself. No matter how high in the ranks you may have climbed, in the end, you are nothing but a pawn to Palpatine, one which he would cast aside as soon as your usefulness wore out.
So that was a really great informative video, but it was just a little bit confusing here and there because there was colonel and then there was a high colonel, but then in the general section, the high general is lower than general. And then there's a grand admiral and there's a grand general. Governor is also a rank, which I did not know. So I mean, there's just a lot. There's just a lot. But then again, that's what makes it unique and important to the Star Wars universe, because if it just matched to some of the militaries today, like the U.S. military or like another nation's military ranks, then sure, it'll be a little bit easier to keep track and understand, but it won't be as unique. So that's why I find it really interesting. But however, still, I can't get the ranks down. The only rank I can remember is Grand Moff and Grand Admiral, because like I said, I really like Grand Admiral Thrawn, excuse me, and also Grand Moff Tarkin. He's like one of the characters that I've seen and followed for a long time, ever since I saw episode 4, which was a long time ago, for the first time I mean. But either way, this was really great, and again, shout out and credit goes to Red 5 for doing an amazing job. And I really enjoy his videos, and Red 5, if you're watching this, keep up the great work. So that's all I got for today, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. And also shout out to all my members, subscribers, viewers. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I really do appreciate it. So without anything else, see you guys next time.